whatever interesting thing comes out of it now becomes content that showcases that person saying something intelligent. It can be branded with your stuff, and it's a value add thing for everybody involved. You don't have to limit yourself to just doing this in a weekly podcast, kind of like internet talk show form, right? Like anything where you are bringing people together to interact with them and creating content around it and then repurposing the content on the back end really, really works, right? And it works better when you make it about the person that's interacting, the people that are showing up, as opposed to whoever the star is, right? So like an example of something that we do at trade shows is that, you know, trade show booths are kind of like a fishbowl, right? Like you're always kind of like standing there behind your little desk with your little pen, and people are coming by to grab your squishy toy or see what, you know, if they can win an iPad, and then peace out. You set up a podcast recording studio at the trade show booth, right? You set up some lights, set up a table, you set up a camera, you set up some mics. And what happens there is anytime that you see lights, camera, and action happening, I think all of us as Americans are like, whoa, who's on TV, right? Like what's going on? So people stop and pay attention, and they're like, who are these people talking behind microphones? They must be important, right? That happens. So you get attention around your booth. Your salespeople, when they're out talking to someone, they can get in an interesting conversation, be like, oh my God, that's really interesting. Why don't you come back here and be on the thought leaders of the Proven Chaos conference, little mini podcast that we're doing. Come talk to my CEO, right? So like you get back and you have this like intimate moment where you're interviewing somebody for like 12, 15 minutes, or, you know, the leader of your company or the most attractive person to meet gets to like spend time with somebody talking about what they're doing at this show, what they believe in, what the future of this industry is, right? Then, you know, because we have the team and all this stuff, we turn it around in 24 hours. Number one, I'm taking a picture of the person that's being interviewed. And by the time they're walking off, I'm like, oh, check out this picture. And it literally looks like they were just on the news at the trade show. So you text it to them, you get their phone number, you lead capture, and the likelihood of them posting that on social media and or sharing it via text of like, look, I'm big shit, I got to speak at this conference, is pretty high. Another thing that we do is we turn it around overnight and create like a 1.5 minute sizzle reel that's like optimized for like LinkedIn or Facebook. Now you're winning the trade show online as it's happening, if you can do that functionality. But the beauty of it is you've now created multiple touch points, right? Like you have the time together, you have the buzz at the show, you're able to also not just win in person, but online. You are capturing their cell phone number in a totally organic way. You get their email because you're like, hey man, when we publish this as a podcast, I just kind of want to talk to you to see what you want me to put you as your description or whatever. So now when you follow up with them in a week or 2 weeks, it's not like, oh, hey, can I send you a pamphlet of my crap? It's like, hey, let's get on a call and let's talk about how we can best promote you and your big special moment here. It's a differentiated follow-up mechanism, right? Like this idea of just intersecting content creation with relationship building is huge. Alex is trying to plan this like dinner of podcasters here locally. This is real-time news, folks. Alex sent me an email today saying he wants to have a dinner of podcasters in Jacksonville. I'm like, that's cool, Alex. Why don't we get some cameras out there, man? Like, why don't we get into some like interesting conversations, have this dinner amongst podcasters, and then later on we can edit this stuff of us all like hanging out. Whatever he says, that's brilliant. Whatever interesting thing comes out of it now becomes content that showcases that person saying something intelligent. It can be branded with your stuff, and it's a value add thing for everybody involved, right? Like the person saying something smart gets to look good. Your brand gets to be the person that's like introducing them. It grows organically because the person that's tagged in that thing, their audience is going to see it. And at the end of the day, you spend time doing the number one most important thing, which is building the relationships that you want to build that make your business hum.
Amen. It's the microcosm of what we're doing here. It's the live show, just forced at a trade show. And I think it's one of the smartest things that you have going on in your repertoire. But you know, you talk about Gary Vee recontextualizing the same play just in a different environment. That's exactly the same thing here.